Welcome to another episode of Queen, Three, and King. I am your host, King Doc. These are my co-hosts. Don't worry too much about them. We'll get to them in just a moment, but focus on me right now. The entire crew here at Queen, Three, and King, we welcome you with love, peace, and nobility. We want to give a shout out to our AV crew, Golden Eye Creations and Kedak Productions, Chico and Kiki, big ups, much love. Today's topic is pandemic pressures. Pandemic pressures. What has changed in society in general and in your life specifically due to the pandemic? That's what we're going to talk about. And now we go to our co-host. And first, standing at 5'3¼ tall, out of East Garland, Texas, we have Nikki Nicole Briscoe, aka Coco, aka Skinny Minnie, aka Boney Maroney. Coco, the glamour herself. What's good, Queen?
This is a lot of names. Hey, y'all. Y'all been having a great day.
Yeah, it's a lot of names because you done been around a long time.
To God be all of the glory.
All right.
That's right. All right. And next, our fellow co-host or fella, depending on where you're from. She's out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Her name is Meba, aka TT, the educator. What up, Queen?
What's up, y'all?
That'll be your sexy voice.
Yeah.
Wow. She sounds like Georgia. Oh, that's why I gave her that Tulsa moniker. All right. And last but not least, Blake Mama, the baby queen, Lily. Talk to the people, Queen.
Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Let's get to it.
It's a laugh for me.
All right. So again, what has changed within society in general and in your life specifically due to the pandemic? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around to the panel and let y'all answer this question first and get your take on it. When you first heard the topic, what has changed it within society in general and your life specifically due to the pandemic? We're going to start with the more seasoned queen, Nikki Nicole. What has changed in society due to the pandemic?
Wow, it's been a lot of things that have changed in society due to the pandemic.
Don't name all of them, just one.
Well, the one major one, of course, is our economy, and people are not able to go to work. They've lost their jobs. All kinds of craziness has happened, and a lot of people are still seeking work at this very moment. And not only that, a lot of people don't have food to eat. Some people are homeless. So it's a lot of things that I can say about what happened during the pandemic, and that's just a couple of things.
All right, cool. All right, what about your life specifically? What's
My
happening?
life specifically, to be honest, it's just been an adjustment not to be able to see family and friends, and to go out and not going out wearing a mask and all those kind of different things. Even though some of us have been vaccinated, I'm still cautious, and I still want to go out and wear my mask and keep other people safe. So, but as far as us in general, as a household, it really hasn't affected us that much as far as like our businesses and things of that nature.
Well, these masks have been a blessing for some folks. I'm sure glad they had to wear them for a little while. We'll get a couple of comments in here. We got Lakia says, "Hey fam."
Hey Kia.
Hey, Kia.
Hey Rita's. Hey family.
Hey, we profile picture.
You know she gonna be there. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go back to the. She
Got
Got that bang.
that bang.
half print action going on.
Come on.
Bill Harvey. Good evening, Queens and King. How you doing, Mr. Harvey? Good to have you. And Aunt Rita says mental health, more people are now on antidepressants than ever before.
Yeah.
Justin Caraway, he is as on time as he's gonna get because this is it. This is about as early as he's gonna ever be. We in here. So appreciate you, Justin. All right, Mika, what has changed in general within society due to the pandemic?
In general, I'm gonna say education. It forced our teachers to get out of the box and to become innovative and creative and reach out to the students a little more. And I think it exposed parents to how needed teachers are, how important educators are to our everyday society, and it showed them that we are not just babysitters. We are actually vital to the community and to the education system and to how their kids learn and socialize every day.
Yeah. Because I said, if Tyrone had
But the thing is that I know a lot of people do take teachers for granted, but I've never taken what you guys do, any educators, what they do for granted.
Same.
I've never done that. I've always been appreciative of that because my kids have had a lot of great educators in their life, and that impacted them a whole lot throughout their school year. So I can never say that y'all are just babysitters because you do more than that. So everybody should give y'all kudos more often.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome, sugar.
Some of y'all. All right. Ain't Linda says, "Hey, family, how you?"
Hey,
You must have heard we said something about ain't we the profile picture and changed hers real quick.
Hey,
Let's see, get that. It's the light for me.
I think she's getting ready for this teaser and pleaser episode, maybe. But that episode had them braids on that you had that one time.
No.
But wait a minute. When did we start seeing the picture so clearly?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Maybe I renewed our membership at an upgrade. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Not really. I just made that up.
Yeah, I think you're lying.
H Rap, fresh out of Dallas. Good evening, family.
What up, H Rap?
We had a fantastic show today on Build and Destroy. Fantastic show. Check him out Tuesdays at 5, Saturdays at 5. The End of the Bench podcast on Built for This Network. He comes with the juice every time. Once you tune in, you can't tune away. I promise you. Since the start of this, I've lost 13 people. Wow.
He added one today because I listened to him for a little bit today.
Yeah, there you go. So it's down to 12.
Now you're down to 12 losses.
All right, we got kinfolk in the house. Cousin Craig. Say, hey, cuz, what's up, man?
Hey, Craig.
Yeah.
All right, Mika, as an individual, what has changed specifically due to the pandemic in your life?
I've always recognized this, but family has stood out even more now, and making sure that your home is a home, a place that that you love. Make sure that your place is a place that you love and to welcome people, because I don't have to be out in these streets. After this pandemic, I realized, okay, make your home calm, cool, collective, welcoming, have your people over and just love on them. So just making sure to love on my people more and intentionally.
I'm glad you said that because I'm going to be over there for about 2 weeks.
I said more, not
right.
Come over here.
Baby Queen, what's changed in society?
I would say just the way we communicate. That's been one of the biggest things, even in regards to work and all of that. Like, I'm on Zoom calls all the time or Skype calls. There's no more meeting in a room. And sometimes you miss that social interaction. But sometimes I'm like, it's a struggle for me to get onto phone calls now because I'm on them all day long at work. So I think that's been the biggest thing for me. But personally, it's caused me to be at home more and to want to be at home more. I know everybody is right now like, we outside, and I'm like, I'm staying inside. So I have become a homebody to the fullest. I do not mind being at home. And what Mika said is really, really true. Just making sure that you make your home somewhere you love. I think my connection with my little family has even become stronger. So that's what's really stood out for me.
Okay. And so you kind of covered them both in one answer, right? You know, your
Did.
general and specifically.
Mhm.
Don't get smart with me.
She said did. She said did.
I'll give you the day off.
I didn't know he was gonna answer.
So in society in general, for me, is awareness, right? You know, the way people are aware, right? You know, so they are, you know, and of course this isn't, you know, 100%, but you know, you walk into a store or get out of your car or whatever, you know, people are looking at you to try to get your take on things, right? And for me, you know, it was not during the height of the pandemic necessarily, but as we're starting to transition out of it, you know, people are trying to look and see what's acceptable, you know, and or what you're comfortable with and things of that nature. You know, see, I've had a couple of people say, I can put this on if I need to, you know, or whatever, you know. So awareness has changed, and not only awareness with others that you come across in public, but also awareness of what's happening within your own household, right? We'll talk a little bit more about, you know, married couples and how that's impacted, and you know, we've heard stories from COVID babies to the divorce numbers rising, you know, because you're forced to take a look at what's really going on. The distraction of being out of the house at work is gone. Right. The distraction of the kids' activities is gone, you know, so you're forced to look at exactly what's taking place. And take it from me, being forced to look at what's happening in your home will sometimes make you realize I need to get out this home. So that can be tough for me individually. Being more in tune with the financial pulse of the country, okay, and how that affects me and the legacy I'm trying to leave. Right. Yeah. You know, so we have an investment group that got started during the pandemic, and we, you know, when the stock market crashed, you know, we knew that was a time to jump in it. And again, so now individually, the way I look at, you know, the financial pulse of the country and what industries are getting set up to boom and what industries are set up to fail, et cetera, et cetera. For example, which can tie into my country analogy, is now that people are working from home, there are a lot of businesses who will never go back to having their employees come in, or they will give the employees a choice and they'll reduce their numbers by approximately half or so. And if that's the case, what about all these commercial buildings across the country that were set up to house employees that are no longer needed? So it's going to be some interesting changes in how we do business, and it's going to hurt some folks' pocketbook, I assure you, as when we come out of this and we get back to a new norm. The old norm will never be here again. Those days are over with, so it'll be a new norm, and I'm anxious to see exactly what that's going to look like. All right, a couple of comments here. We got Alicia. She says, yes, my family is my refuge now. I hate being away from them and miss them when we are not together. And Justin says, it's been growth for me personally. How so, Justin? Elaborate.
That boy been over there flourishing.
Yeah. Yeah, moving them keys, I guess. Wheeler said, the pandemic made me want a hubby to be in love. I was freaking lonely. We could have been having a good time with all that spare time.
All right.
All right. So that's
all right, good time.
A comment that has some humor in it, but that's a serious comment.
Right.
And that'll lead us into the health aspect of this pandemic, not only the mental health that she mentioned, but the physical health. So once we get a couple of these comments, we'll kind of chop it up on what we think, how the pandemic has affected us in terms of mental and physical health. We got Rhonda S. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, hey, Rhonda. How are you?
Hey, Rhonda.
Kyler Briscoe. I don't know if it's waving. I don't know what that is.
Hey,
but whatever.
Like this.
Rucker Park in the house. Look like she in Hawaii or somewhere with that.
Come on, Rucker, with that kiss face.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Rucker Park. Jessica was saying, I'm praying that my department never goes back. Ben Sutters at BS3 Radio, either him or Erica, one of the two, probably him, because Erica don't say stuff like "sup family." She's a little bit more refined than that. So hey, Ben, we know that she. And Justin said we can't talk about them. Linda Trader said, "Sis, I totally agree." Oh, I guess she's talking about.
Ain't we done?
All right. So what we can do, we're going to have a love connection for Mika, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And we need, if you're interested, get with one of the queens other than Mika and submit your name or submit candidates. So once we're done with that, maybe we'll have a elderly love connection. please,
Don't do that.
please, a connection. All right, so Lily, we'll start with you on the mental and physical health aspect of it. So, a lot of people are doing things such as seeing your doctor now in virtual reality as opposed to face-to-face. Some have gained weight, others have lost weight, some have started walking, some have started eating healthier. There's better health awareness. Wearing masks may not go away in certain settings, especially planes. I'll never fly again without my mask, right? Because that's the place I used to get sick. Vaccinations is a topic. So talk about that. Talk about some physical and mental aspects of this pandemic and how it's changed and what we have to deal with.
Yeah, I've definitely, I'll start with mental. I know that it's been an adjustment for me. I have my days, especially early in the pandemic. It was such an extreme change of being busy all the time to go to being in the house all the time where everything was shut down. Anxiety, just going out. Like even with my kids, I had to go to the grocery store once a week. So to the grocery store, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is nerve-wracking trying to find cleaning supplies.
Let me just interrupt you for a second. You may want to start going twice a week because if Blake, when he come to my house, if the first place he goes is to the pantry, that's not a good look. Something is happening at home. My snacks can't be that much better than what's going on over there.
I promise I'll feed my baby, but he makes it look like I don't.
Thing at our house. Go straight to the
pantry. Hey, back in the day, if we did that when we was kids, we'll get yanked by our arm and say, act like I ain't feed you.
Yes.
You better not say, yeah, you hungry if somebody asks you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
your small intestines
he's
can
gonna
be
go
your large intestines. No, ma'am, I just ate.
Yeah, he's gonna definitely help himself, but I promise I'll feed my baby. But just, I guess, the mental aspect, that was really heavy on me. I know having to connect with my siblings through text or through video calls or whatever we did to communicate, that was tougher for me because I was used to seeing my family on a regular. We get together just to get together. So that was really tough and a transition for me. Physically, I know that early on, and me and Mika even talked about this, we started taking walks outside just to get outside, to clear your head. Now that Texas heat, we ain't taking no more walks, and I probably done gained some weight from that. But that's how I would kind of get my physical activity in, is going for a walk just to clear my head or to feel like I'm doing something. Because sometimes, and my daddy says this all the time, when you're in the house by yourself all the time or having to be there all the time, those walls start to close in and you have to get out and release that. So that's my take on it.
Right on. Good answer. All right. Ben says, nice meeting the two queens last Saturday.
Oh, he's gonna be specific and say the two queens.
Yeah, he trying to say Lily didn't make it, I guess.
And Erica. Baby.
H-Rap, just laughed at one of my funny comments. I'm not sure which one.
How do you know it was you?
Oh, it was me. I guarantee you. Tabitha Ford, thank you for joining us. She goes, make sure you get your home before you come for my life.
Okay. Tabitha.
Yes, Tab. Tab been rocking for 20 years, y'all.
Yeah, so what?
Tab, I'ma slap the dog.
Oh, and Linda said she can be a cougar.
Linda says she can be a cougar.
I ain't mad at you.
We'll come back to that.
Hi, Linda.
Amen.
And Rita says, Ted, y'all went straight to the fridge. I'm not buying that. I don't know that Wilma Jean would have put up with that at all. Let's see. Justin says, my relationship with my kids and my women. God, dog. I don't know if that's
Woman.
I think that's a typo.
Woman.
We're gonna say that's a typo.
No, we got to, financially, I have been able to show more of my ability within my line of work. Okay. My relationship with my kids and my women. Wow.
Come on, women.
All right.
Justin, say it's a typo.
Gotta be.
The Queens have been to my place of refuge during the pandemic, Huffines Park.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
See? I got
Justin,
you.
We had you.
I got you. That's tag.
All right. I'm gonna put it out there. You need to get it right. All right. Mika, health, mentally and physically. What are your thoughts on that in regard to the pandemic?
Physically, at the beginning, I think we were just trying everything. Walking. I found YouTube walking videos, y'all. It was a mess.
You found what kind of video? Walking
videos on YouTube.
Can you explain that for us, please? Because I've been knowing how to walk since I was 10 months old. I don't need no video.
But they would show you would do a walk a mile or 2 miles or 3 miles within your home on YouTube. Yeah. So
walking on what kind of flow you got, because if you got carpet, that you're gonna wear the hell out that carpet. Did they talk about that part? I remember. Okay, this reminds me. One time, I got it. Your dad and my mama had been together long. I think they had already got married at this point, but I was, on my fitness thing, because I was a little younger, and I was out there trying to, so I had the jump rope. Our garage was converted to a den, but there was carpet in there. Right. So I used the jump rope in there. And boy, when your daddy came in there, because that carpet he had just put in there, you trying to wear my carpet out? You can't jump rope outside. You ain't thinking about that, is you? Yeah, he was not having it, right? Yeah, I quit jumping rope inside. Justin did clarify to say this was a typo. Okay, so Mika, you said you were walking in the house. What else on this mental and physical health?
Now, okay, my siblings will go ahead and back me up on this. I took the pandemic the hardest, y'all. Ted, don't laugh. Don't laugh. I did not do well with this pandemic. And literally feel like I just started going back outside about a month ago, maybe 2.
Proud of her.
And every time, look, sometimes still, I ain't gonna tell this. I shouldn't say this out loud. Sometimes when I go outside, I start like a 10-day countdown, like make sure I don't start coughing or get no fever. I'm still trying. Hey guys, I'm still trying to
come out of that. We're not claiming it.
I'm still trying to get used to this. So it was mentally hard for me. I was I moved during the pandemic into my home. So I was in my apartment by myself.
Oh, okay.
I was in my house a home, okay?
Aren't you Sadidi?
I'm moving
for our non-African American viewers. Sadidi is uppity, but that's what she was. Go ahead, Sadidi.
That's all right.
I moved into my home during the pandemic, and that freaked me out too. So I was having a hard time. If it wasn't for my siblings and parents, because it'd be days I just call crying, and they'd be like, "Hey," and they just sit on the phone while I cry. It was hard for me. Like, I guess being by yourself and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. But then once I start moving around a little bit, I felt a little better, but it's just, I'm more conscious of what I do when I go out. Like, I am that girl that's going to still have that hand sanitizer and everything, mask, several with me. Yeah, I'm going to always have that with me. And I will never, like my brother said, I will never fly on a plane again or go into a meeting. I have to go into meetings where 100+ people. I'm going to have my mask on. I don't care if I'm the only one in the room with my mask on. I'm going to have a mask on. So it's just certain settings now that I'm going to make sure I wear my mask in certain seasons, especially flu seasons and stuff like that, where I'm going to make sure to be more cautious. And, with our parents being over 60, just being aware of them, and some of my aunties and uncles and people who have different ailments, just being careful around them have been my goal during this pandemic.
Right on. Well, if you, from a mental standpoint, we have tried to get you on some of this natural medication that will ease your mind.
Let me ease your mind.
Ease your mind and relax your behind. Maybe you need to try some of those natural medications. It's from the earth. All right. Nicole.
I have to agree with the mental side of things. Is that I wasn't as bad as Mika or anything, but I did miss being around my family, being able to go and hang out with even with my kids on the weekends and stuff like that. And then also during the pandemic, we had my oldest daughter Chastity and her husband was staying here, and the baby when it first started. So that was hard for me because I was worried about my grandbaby more than anybody is, even though they say kids couldn't have to wear a mask and all this other kind of stuff. And then but I still wanted to make sure that we kept her safe and make sure we kept our house clean and sterilized and all that good stuff. And then to try to get out and get fresh air, that's what we did. We walked the neighborhood with her in the stroller, walked the neighborhood. That's how we met some of the neighbors that we didn't know and things of that nature, elderly neighbors, or even just little young kids outside riding their bicycles. So that's what we did to try to get our mind off of what was going on in the world right at that point. And as far as any of the other things you guys talked about, well, the next thing was what you said,
physical or mental health.
Or mental. Yeah, and that's physical. That's what we did physically, but mentally, like I said, I had to just, I prayed more than I've had. Ever. And I prayed more for our aunts and our elderly uncles and stuff, and our mom more than anybody. All the elderly. My father-in-law back in Southeast Texas. I mean, I just praying and just making sure that all our elderly stayed safe, and made sure that we called and checked in on them and make sure they were good.
So, I thought you was gonna get back on that stuff again.
Guess what? I told you I'm delivered from that.
Justin says that sounds like Uncle AJ.
He didn't play about that carpet in the house.
Says God has been my refuge. God's word and prayer is what got me through COVID.
No, for real.
So for me, let's see how I want to answer this. So I'll answer this delicately in terms of the mental aspect, because mental health awareness and the state of our mental condition, especially within our own culture, but in society in general, has been at the forefront even before COVID, And so I think that, I have some opinions with regard to the over medication of certain things, right? In fact, Kedra, who hopefully will start a podcast on BS3 Radio soon, Key Fit Fitness, when we interviewed her during the Juneteenth celebration, when we were broadcasting live there, one of the things that I asked her is physical fitness as it relates to mental health. And as she said, she's like, there are chemical releases of endorphins and things of that nature that will actually improve your mental state when you get moving, so physical. She talked about 30 minutes a day. She's like, don't look at it from a physical fitness standpoint, look at it from a mental fitness standpoint, that 30 minutes of movement and how it impacts your mental stability. And then in terms of the physical aspect of the pandemic, well, one day, because I got the COVID and I saw Jesus' feet one night. And it looked like that woman had just washed him with her hair. I had to spend a couple of days in the hospital and get on oxygen and things of that nature. So And like I said, we were somebody who, the work that I did was called an essential service. So when the pandemic hit, I still had to go to work every day.
Right.
Well, not every day, but I still had a regular work routine. And we did things, even bought machines that were supposed to clean the air and things of that nature. So we made some adjustments and things of that nature, but that Rona still jumped on.
Yeah.
That Rona still jumped on me and almost took me out of here.
Don't say that.
It didn't almost take you out of here, but
I told you, I saw Jesus' feet that night that I went to the hospital. And they were real clean, but I'm sorry, they wasn't white.
But having had COVID was difficult. That was the hardest part of the pandemic, is that so many of our family members,
when that strain hit, because at first it was like you didn't even know nobody who had COVID.
Right.
You just heard it. But then this one strain hit to where
everybody,
every other African was getting it, so that corona got real. And what we got to understand about a virus, and the reason why things will never be the same, even with regard to this being out here, is that viruses mutate, right? And they mutate because they are trying to survive, right? And so what will happen is they'll get more contagious but less dangerous, right? Less deadly. So what they're trying to do, because what a virus is smart enough to realize, I can't keep killing off my host. Right. So if I'm this powerful and my hosts are dying, I will have nowhere to survive. Right. So it weakens, but it becomes more contagious. So we've seen that. And
what nurse did he talk to before?
Oh, I'm aware. See, one thing that you understand, if you watch the podcast, if you watch this, you'll understand that this is a well-rounded individual. Don't let the jokes fool you. You understand?
The next question.
I was through with it before you knew what to do with it. Radio said, get some Mary Jane Mika. Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta be Ben. See, Ben has been bad all weekend.
Yeah.
If you just saw what he was saying down at the restaurant when we ate after the Juneteenth celebration, I was like, Ben, I'm gonna call Erica and tell her on you. So yeah, he's being bad. Weeda says, I don't fear the COVID for myself. During that time in my life, I didn't care if I lived or died. My concern was to protect others from it.
Yeah.
All right. David Wilk says, wow. I don't know what he's saying wow to. But anyway, appreciate you for joining us, Mr. Mayhem. All right, so now we are about halfway through the program, so it's time to go check out what's happening. These streets is talking, and let's go to Queen Lee, Blake Mama, and see what they're talking about.
Hey, y'all. So the streets are talking. So it's been a couple things that I wanted to definitely cover today. So first, I want to give a shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson. So straight out of Dallas, Texas.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So she's been trending in these streets for a positive reason.
Right.
So I always like to highlight that it's been positive, and I love to see it. So she's on her way to the Olympics. So shout out to her. Very happy and excited for her. This comes in the midst of her losing her biological mother here recently, but she was still able to go in there and dominate, and she is on her way to the Olympics. One thing that I wanted to talk about is that this has been a hot topic that's kind of going on in regards to this story. Is so many trolls online have been calling her ghetto, flamboyant, because of her hair and her nails. We can't focus on the talent. We can never focus on just what the true talent is. It always has to be diverted to something negative.
Come on,
so shut up. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this. What do y'all feel about this?
Mika.
Oh, thanks. First, know your history.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of her mentors is FloJo.
Oh yeah,
if you take a look at FloJo had her nails.
Them nails were always
there on point.
She was very unique.
She was super unique, but she was super talented. It doesn't take away from the talent. Right. So if Sha'Carri was out here in these streets acting a fool, that would get more recognition. She
Than
would,
her,
you know,
yep.
people would love that more. But since they didn't have anything to talk about, they said, let's talk about her nails and her hair. Boom.
Yeah.
And not focus on her talent. So I say Black girl magic flourish, honey. Don't let, if they stop talking, then worry. But as long as they're talking, Sha'Carri, do your thing.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about your nails or your hair.
Right.
And I think the saddest part of it is it's our people that are talking about her. Like, they're even saying she looks like a man, and all this kind of stuff. It's just crazy that we just can't focus on the talent. We can be our own worst enemies, and I think that's just what
crabs in the barrel.
Yeah, I think that's just what stood out to me about this story, and I really wanted to shout her out today because she's doing the thing in this track thing. So, Nikki, how do you feel?
I think, like you said, they were talking about, it's our people who's talking about her. But if it was any other ethnicity, then we would be mad. It's, you know what?
Yes, Grease.
What we say?
It
will be. They would be. Yeah, they would be livid if somebody, if it was another ethnicity talking about her. But my whole thing is, I say, do you, baby girl? And if I was her, I would add some more different colors in that.
I probably had a rainbow in my hair next time.
Exactly. Because you're going to the Olympics, baby girl.
Yes, yes.
Don't even worry about what they say. So this is a bunch of noise.
Before I give my take on it, I want to get a couple of comments out of the way. Ben is denying being bad this weekend, which is total farce. He was. He goes, how long were you in the hospital, dog? Don't worry about it. It's public record. The doc has that picture of Tyler up there. So, hey, y'all. David Wilkes said, I saw comments calling her a man, shaking my head. Ridiculous.
People are just
being such people will always hate no matter what.
Right.
For me, and I hopefully H-Rap is still tuning in because I'm sure his perspective on this would be interesting. But you know, there's a generational curse. There are generational curses that we deal with, right? And those generational curses and even trauma and things of that nature are passed down from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And that self-hatred gene, that self-hatred curse is a real thing. And so unfortunately, there are a lot of folks that look like us that don't like us. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
And H-Rap, I hear him say all the time, skin folk ain't always kinfolk.
Okay.
Come on now.
So, you know, so that's a real thing and it has to be addressed. And in addition to that, I've wondered for a long time why society in general, not just our culture, but why society in general is so offended by the expression of individuality. Self. Why? What is the big deal? You know, number one, it ain't none of your business at the end of the day. Mind your own, stay in your lane, dipping and dabbing and don't know what's happening. But so number one, when did individual expression become a problem? What is it hurting you? It don't cost you nothing, you know. Maybe that inspires some kid that's living in the 5th Ward or East St. Louis or Oak Cliff or whatever, who her mamas and aunties and et cetera look like that. And if she would have come out looking like, you know, Black Barbie doll and everything's put together and I got a clean ponytail and I got my nails neatly filed and I got, you know, all these things, and she doesn't look like, sometimes we need to be inspired by people who look like us. That, you know, and instead of always looking for the negative in a story, in a situation, how about looking for the positive in a situation? Try that for a moment. Right. Instead of, you know, H-Rap and I had several conversations while he was visiting this week. And I told him, I said, don't focus on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths. You know, focus on your strengths and let the Lord take care of your weaknesses. And I say that to us as individuals looking out at the world too. Quit focusing on folks' weaknesses, focus on their strengths. You know, you may be able to learn something from them.
That's good.
All right, that's all you got, Lily? Nothing else?
I have another one that's kind of funny to me. So This has been trending on a couple of like baller alerts, shade room, and things like that. So a Florida woman is terrified after receiving $1 billion in her account. So she went to the ATM to get $20 out. And she gets the receipt, takes a look at it, and it's $1 billion in her account.
Mm-hmm.
So she says she is terrified because she doesn't want to withdraw any of that money because she says she knows she'll have to pay it back. But she's been calling the bank to try to return the money. Nobody's returning her phone calls. She's not getting anybody. When she's explaining to them what's happening, nobody has a straight answer of how she should handle it.
That must be Bank of America or Wells Fargo.
I can't stand even.
BOA. It's BOA.
So my question to you, if you wake up in the morning and you have $1 billion,
Guys,
in your account, are you
all
returning to sender or are you clearing your bank?
Can I go first?
yeah,
Go.
Ted.
I'm gonna get up in the morning because the bank open at 9. I'm gonna get up at about 7:45, brush my teeth extra long that day, and I'm gonna put on my Easter suit, and I'm gonna get my briefcase, and I'm gonna go to the bank with the straightest face I've ever had, and I'm gonna withdraw the highest limit I can possibly withdraw. And I'm not gonna spend it. I'm gonna withdraw it, and I'm gonna probably repeat that action every other day until it ain't no more in there. And, and if they catch up with me, they catch up with me. And, you know, and I'm like, well, hey, some folks had owed me some money, and I lost track of how much they owed me. I thought they had been so I'm gonna set it aside. I'm not gonna spend it, but I'm gonna show it's gonna be in the closet till y'all call.
Yes.
They're gonna arrest you in that Easter suit.
No, I didn't do anything illegal.
Right.
Not there. And possession is still 9/10 of the law.
Right.
So you got to know your law. You got to know your statistics. Study instead of trying to learn how to walk in your house. Try to figure out the real stuff.
But I know it's 9/10 of the law. You better shut up this day.
Just to say, they're always trying to find a way to tear greatness down. They mad they can't do it.
Yep.
Rhonda says, why do people feel the need to degrade others? Are they unhappy with who they see in the mirror? Exactly.
That's the main thing right there.
Mojo, she was a beast and is a role model for female athletes.
Yes, she is.
Brandon Dawkins Love says, I love that she is setting a great example for my daughter, Black Girl Magic. Exactly.
Yeah.
Brian Williams, A-Trap says, yes, indeed, I am. It's a sad commentary. Justin said, it's sad to me that we have to teach each other how to support one another. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to teach.
Yeah.
You know, matter of fact,
have to teach it.
I'm telling you right now, one of the reasons why you need to listen to H-Rap's End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy on Built for This Network. And he goes, I'm trying to build up my community and destroy those myths, destroy those things that are tearing us down. So 100% right. Erica Sutter says, so true. Yes, make a Black Girl Magic. Hey, Erica, thank you for separating yourself from BS3. Big Gwen say,
hey,
hello, family.
Hey, Gwen.
Gwen. Justin Carraway said, H-Rap said, I would have wrote myself a check, got my other account and closed that account out. Wow. Pastor Dawkins says, I'm calling the law unless I get my cut if I find out. Oh, you getting the cut? You know you're getting the cut. Rondell says, I've been in banking for over 20 years. Don't touch that money because the bank will figure it out their mistake and come to rectify that mistake. Come on. Come on. Little Miss Trainer says, I'm drawing it out. She said she's drawing it out. And putting it under my mattress and do a holy dance. Rita Riley says, I'm going to spend it. They should not have put it in my name. When they find out, I'm going to sue them for mentally tormenting me. Bree Max says, Caymans, anybody?
Hey, yes, indeed.
All right. So I answered it. Nikki, Mika, what y'all got?
I'm like you. I'm gonna keep that money because hey, anybody told y'all to put it in there? Me and my baby and kids gonna come up
She had to think. She had to think whether she was going to add the kids or
Me,
not.
my baby.
That didn't
Me,
come
my kids.
natural.
My kids are always gonna be added, and my
That didn't
grandbaby.
come natural.
And your siblings.
Oh yeah, you know I got y'all.
No, I ain't saying nothing about them.
I got
You can tell where I heart at.
and Miranda Jeremiah, but not Ted.
All right, let me find
No,
out.
I'm just playing.
I'm going to get a little bit of it. They're gonna come forward,
A
y'all.
little bit.
Oh, I know they is.
What's a little bit?
Probably about 10% like Jesus.
Girl, at least get half. At least take half.
I'm gonna leave the rest in there. Come say I don't know where the other is. Just take that's in there.
Wow. Okay. So enough of the
I think
streets.
she's scary.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
That's evident. So okay, let's appreciate those two topics on the streets is talking. They stay talking. So those are some good topics. So yeah, support each other and cut all that nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple of other pandemic pressures that are out there. You know, they say pressure bust pipes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the negative thing. They also say pressure will make a puppy pull a freight train. So pressure, yeah, that's a Country Craig saying right there. They say, so those are negatives and positives that pressure of pandemics can do, right? So we had Aunt Linda and Aunt Weta talk about it made me want a husband more and et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did you hear about dating during the pandemic, and what did you experience, Mika, about dating during the pandemic? And I'm going to start with you because I, being a part of a couple of Facebook groups and seeing that a lot of folks saying, is people dating during the pandemic?
Yeah.
What was happening?
Nothing.
Oh.
It was dry.
It's the desert.
For real?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We're going to cut it early this week. We'll be back next week.
Yikes.
Don't know what the topic is going to be. But I do not want to broadcast anymore. I'm going to reconsider my career as a whole.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh, get it together now.
I'm on distance and go to the comments. Wow.
Oh my God.
David Wilkes Lamb says, I'm going to watch Ozark again to move the money. They're going to show you how.
Wow.
Justin said, you can say I robbed you. 10% like Jesus and hope he bless it. All right, so nothing.
No, it was now I do know some people who did not miss a lick, kept going, kept dating virtually and all that good stuff. Like I said, I was horrified for a good 6 months.
So you wouldn't consider virtual dating?
I mean,
your internet wasn't hooked up yet in your new home.
Shut up. And yes, my internet was hooked up the entire time, but I guess, I don't know. I guess dating although it would have been easier to have a man in the house during all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want one and gonna have one.
So y'all be walking around the house together. Mm-hmm.
Like this.
Hey.
And but a lot of people did miss a beat, but a lot of people did say that they did realize how important having a significant other was during this period of time and are starting to take dating more seriously. So that is the positive thing.
Yeah, I heard that as well. Lily, did you hear anything different?
No, not really. I think it was more so kind of what Mika said. I really didn't hear too many of the people around me going out too much. Maybe kind of starting up now a little bit, but really kind of chilling at the house. And I think virtual dating is kind of, or virtual, like going on virtual dates was kind of off the table a little bit. I think sometimes we want to see people in person and put eyes on that person. So I really didn't hear many of my friends doing that type of thing. So I think they were just kind of chilling at home.
Nikki, you hear anything different?
No, I didn't hear anything about any of my friends or anybody single going on any virtual dates.
Yeah.
In my circle.
What's funny, Mika?
I don't know.
She's still thinking about that dry place. I guess.
That's funny.
Dry as a
I
desert.
did.
As
I
a
did.
desert.
You know that little table Carla set up at y'all house with the thermometer and the
Sanitizer.
Oh
sanitizer?
yeah, for Mama when
That's
she was here.
that's what I did. I just set that up by the front door, and if they came in,
See?
I scanned them, and I said, "Have you been experiencing any symptoms over the last 10
They had
days?"
to fill out a
And
sheet. I
hold
bet
your
you
hands
did.
out like this.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
That's gross. So you didn't miss a beat. Didn't
then
miss it.
then I put a wristband over them so I could know they had been checked.
You are an idiot.
These
Stupid.
jokes, these are jokes. I'm a professional. Just relax.
Oh,
Okay, so we talked about dating. So now we'll go to the two married queens, and we want to talk about the impact that it had for marriage, right? So,
Mhm.
real deal Holyfield. You go from seeing each other, 12 hours a day, let's just say, to now I got to see you 24 hours a day. And there's very little alone time.
Yeah.
What did you do? How did you adjust? And we'll start with Nikki with that.
Well, for us, it actually made us come closer together.
Mhm.
And there was because Ken works long hours, and so I was glad whenever we had that time, just that one-on-one time with each other, and not only just with each other, but with our kids. So we just started watching different shows that we liked and had, that we never got to watch together and stuff. Had conversations that we, and laughed and talked about things that we never probably would have had the time to talk about and laugh about because of his work schedule. So it just brought us closer together as a family. We cooked a lot. We ate a lot of desserts because Kenyana started her business during the pandemic.
Mhm.
So, and everybody in the house gained a few extra pounds because of that. So we just brought us closer together as a family. So I think that's the most important thing is just coming together as a family. And our marriage was even strong. I feel like our marriage has become stronger because of it.
Mhm.
So I
Would
can't
he-
complain about that part of it.
Would he say the same thing?
Yes, he would.
Is he close to the
He's in the other room, but would you like me to go get him?
Holler in there and let's see if he can come in there and see if he got anything to say.
Okay, I sure will.
He may decline our offer, but let's see if he say the same thing.
I
And
sure will.
while we're waiting on her to get back, Lily, how do you talk to us about how it impacted your marriage?
I would say that, well, Brandon, he's still considered a essential worker. So he had to go to work every day. So he still works 12 plus hour days.
Look at camera moving. She ain't even in the room.
So he still works 12 plus hour days. And so we've still gotten to spend a little bit more time together because on the weekends we were still like, we weren't going anywhere. And usually on the weekends we busy out doing stuff. So we weren't really going anywhere. But one thing we actually had a conversation about how we feel things have changed for us about halfway through the pandemic. And he said, I think it brought us closer together. So I do think that it did help our marriage. We had to confront issues rather quickly than letting it linger a little bit longer. So I really think it helped us.
Yeah. See, he telling the truth because he declined the offer. Looked like he said no, didn't he?
No, he's in the shower. Yana just told me he was in the shower. No, she was in our room and she just told me that. He wouldn't decline. He was in the shower.
All right. So
I don't have to. That's something I don't have to lie about is me and my man.
I ain't got it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't care.
That's something I don't have to lie about, baby.
So Brady said a wristbands for clearance. Exactly.
And it really ain't your business anyway.
So that's beautiful to hear. All right. He probably heard, he'd be watching the show. He probably heard us talking about
And jumped in the shower.
No, I could get shower water when I was walking that way.
He tried.
All right.
Yeah.
So he
ain't tried it. He would have
got
said
about
something.
5 more minutes. So I want to ask just a quick question because this is something that has affected me is groceries. Grocery shopping, the way you acquire groceries. Has anybody's grocery shopping changed? We'll start with you, Lily.
Yes. So I have to go more often, of course, during the pandemic because
you actually go.
I would go. Sometimes I do home delivery. So sometimes I did like Instacart or something like that. But a lot I still do Kroger pickup quite a bit. except for my fruits because I like to pick out my own fruit and my produce. But usually now I'd rather just go to the store and pick up what I need to get because outside is open right now. So
getting a little bit more. I never closed, but okay.
Shut up.
Alicia raised her hand because I know she hitting Instacart hard. All right. Nika, grocery shopping, what you doing?
At the beginning of the pandemic, that was my only place I went. The grocery store. And I would have 2 jackets and 2, like Blake say, masks. I would have on 2 jackets, 2 masks, gloves, and I was getting my own stuff because I was like, if somebody else get it, it's gonna be their germs, and it was too much for me to have somebody else to get it. But yeah, I did my own grocery shopping unless I just couldn't get out to do it.
All right, Nikki, what y'all doing on groceries?
We did. I basically went to go get the groceries. Sometimes we both go, but we actually went and purchased them ourselves and picked them up and brought them home. And we did later on in the pandemic, we did use Brickshires for the curbside pickup. Brickshires.
Oh, I thought you said Brickshires.
No, Brickshires.
I ain't never heard of that store.
Because Walmart takes too long to get your stuff together.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna get a couple of comments. I'm gonna tell you what I've done with regards to grocery shopping, and then we're gonna go around the horn with final thoughts on pandemic pressures, and we'll start with Nikki when we get there. BS3 Radio said grocery delivery was our best friend. Justin Carraway said the kids are killing everything we bring in the house. We decided profited financially during the pandemic. How so?
Yeah.
Probably not having to drive.
Pastor Dawkins said, do your own shopping. Some folks shopping for you are nasty.
True.
That's true. Told you them
What are
germs.
you talking about?
I just blessed it though.
Yeah, I mean, come on, what are they gonna do? I mean, they're gonna go inside the cardboard and open your can of soda and do something.
But have you ever seen somebody grocery shopping, rubbing their nose, and then pick up something?
Oh, wow. Brandy said Amazon Fresh. Justin said we are still going on to the stores. He talked like Maddie. He typed like Maddie.
Still going on to them stores.
Well, let me just say this: Instacart. If y'all are listening, I need run me some of my money back because when I say even now, Instacart, it is so easy.
Yeah.
I'm watching Netflix and I need something and I just need a few items. So shoot, I have Instacart bring it all the time. Plus, I'm doing it to help society. I know that these people are trying to make some extra money, so I'm really trying to bless their game.
Thinking of others, huh?
That's it. That's exactly what I'm doing. Linda Trader says, I went on senior day.
It was less people in there.
I wish I could have went on senior day.
Weeda says, I profited because I didn't have to spend my stimulus checks on rental bills. Right on. All right. So final thoughts on pandemic pressures, starting with Coco.
I guess for me, one thing I want to mention is that I know that divorce rates were up tremendously. Domestic violence cases have been up tremendously.
Yeah.
A lot of kids didn't have food to eat in their homes and stuff, and so it was a lot. And so I'm just asking everybody on this panel if you can donate money to any family for food or clothing or anything that they may need, do that. If anybody you know are in need of clothes, donate your used clothes to them, clothes that you know that you can't fit anymore, but you're trying to keep hope alive. Help them by that. Just donating some clothes to somebody. And not only that, pray for people. There's a lot of homeless people now. I see more and more homeless people when I go through McKinney and areas like that. And it's just sad. And I can't give everybody something, but I will at least try to give, something. But it's just make sure we pray for everybody and make sure that even though we may be okay, we may have all our needs met, it's somebody out there that doesn't. So just make sure that we're being kind to people, because you don't know what they're going through during this time. So just make sure we're kind to everybody, and make sure if you can help, be a help. Be a helping hand to somebody.
Yeah, that's good. North Texas Food Bank is where I started to donate to during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And what I did is I added up, because they'll tell you how much it basically costs per meal and whatnot. So basically, I made a pledge, and then had my company make a pledge, to where basically we were responsible for feeding at least one individual a day, you know. There are 3 meals, you know, and if everybody does that, you know, and it's not as expensive as you think, believe it or not, $11 will provide a meal a day all month, if not more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good idea. Mika, what's your final thoughts?
I would
Don't
say,
be like Jerry Springer on his final thoughts either. Lily.
I would say, don't take each other for granted. It was a lot that happened during this pandemic: death, sickness, people not being able to pay rent, people having to live with one another, and all that good stuff. I would say, don't take each other for granted, because you never know what can happen and what, you know, the next person needs. So just be there for one another, and know, you know, actually all these things that we learned from the pandemic, continue to practice it, especially more prayer. Like, I have prayed and prayed and prayed during this pandemic, and I've stood on some things, I've called some things out, and I've taken care of mental health. I paid attention to that as I prayed, you know, because that's one thing God did reveal. Make sure you take care of yourself, because how can you be empty trying to pour into somebody else? So making sure you take care of yourself, making sure you take care of the people around you, and continue to practice safety protocols, because, you know, as we come out, you still need to practice it.
So you was walking around the house and standing on stuff. Did you stand on stuff before you walked? Did you stand on it in the middle of your walks?
And you can't do the middle finger because you just got through talking about God.
You trying to type it or text it. All right. Okay, Lily. Final thoughts.
I think what you said a good point earlier, and I think that's something I always tell my team, like at work, that this is just our new normal. So continue to adjust to our new normal. I know that I appreciate my family more than I ever did before. When that type of stuff is taken away from you, it makes you look at things different. And like Mika said, prayed a lot. We even had a Bible study that started from someone in our church, and I look forward to that on Thursday, because that, to me, is still my pick me up that I need throughout the pick me up that you need throughout the week. So just continuing to pray for each other. I hope. There's also been a lot of things that come out of the pandemic have not all been negative. Some have been really positive. So having that time with my family, spending time with my family, the cleanliness of things. I love to see stuff being cleaned before you sit and things like that. I want us to keep that up, because, and also the way we care for each other during this pandemic. I think we needed this to kind of slow us down and to make us take a step back and to reflect on some things, because we had became a society where we were just on the go all the time. That microwave society is what they call it, really. So just making sure that we continue to adapt to our new normal, continue to be there for one another. I think Nikki said it best. I've tried to donate where I can, be a blessing to even a girl I went to high school with, be a blessing to her. She was having struggles during the pandemic, and she wasn't even trying to put it out there as a pity party, but God placed it on me to be a blessing to her. So that's something I will continue to do.
Right on. In fact, when you say it forced us to slow down, I think it forced us to give the earth a break as well, right?
Oh, absolutely.
In fact, there were certain parts of the world to where rivers that had not run blue in hundreds of years were actually running blue.
Yeah.
To where people in certain parts of the world were actually seeing stars for the first time
Yep.
in generations, because the smog and things of that nature
Absolutely.
was actually cleared up. So,
Hey, Maddie.
hey, Maddie.
So, hey, Maddie.
Cool. And so for me, my final thoughts are, taking the show title Pandemic Pressures. And I concentrate on the word pressures because the pandemic was just the latest pressure of life, right? My mama used to say something that she still say it, I didn't get growing up, necessarily. She used to always say, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
Yes, Lord.
So what I said then is, okay, I'm gonna prepare for that one thing or the other. I'm gonna hope for the best, but I'm gonna prepare for the worst. So when those pressures come about, I have a support system in place, right? Yeah. I encourage everyone to have someone so when you think about pressure, you have to relieve that pressure. See, that pressure gonna go somewhere. Again, it's either going to bust a pipe or it's going to make you do what you need to do, right? So that pressure, when you have pressure in your life, you have to have a release valve. And that valve is generally in terms of someone you trust, right? A good friend, a pastor, a therapist, whatever the case may be. You have to have someone that you pour your toxins out on, right? That's going to know what to do with those toxins, which is just flush them. They're not going to take those toxins, save them up for later to try to poison you with them later. They're going to take those toxins and they're going to flush them. They're not going to take them in themselves and take them on themselves, thereby creating a worse situation for them. They're going to take those toxins and flush them. You got to have somebody in your life to be able to alleviate your pressures on. And if that means you establish a protocol of, I'm just going to vent, I don't need a solution, I don't need whatever the case may be, find someone to help you relieve the pressures of life, whether it be pandemic, whether it be financial, whether it be health, whether it be career, whatever the case may be. You need to have somebody who will help you alleviate those pressures and leave them where they need to be.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of Queen, 3, and King. We appreciate every last one of our viewers. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the participation as always. Join us next week. We do not know what the topic is going to be yet, but just follow us on our page on Facebook, on YouTube, and we will be announcing that soon. But again, we appreciate your participation and join us right here again next week at 7:30 next Tuesday. And we will bring back another entertaining show. I can guarantee you that.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.